Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Punaman Sukti Praj Acharya Stotra Shri Srimad AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Nam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ramana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam reading with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. We are beginning with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 26, Text 17.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Rama Uchu Naranata Najam Jani Mas Vatpriya Yad Vyavasyati Utale Niravastare Shayanam Pashashatruha. All the women addressed the king. O master of the citizens, we do not know why your dear wife has taken on this sort of existence. O killer of enemies, kindly look. She's lying on the ground without bedding. We cannot understand why she is acting in this way. Yes.
Purport. When a person is devoid of devotional service or Vishnu Bhakti, he takes to many sinful activities. King Puranjana left home, neglected his own wife, and engaged himself in killing animals. This is the position of all materialistic men. They do not care for a married chaste wife. They take the wife only as an instrument for sense enjoyment, not as a means for devotional service. To have unrestricted sex life, the karmis work very hard. They have concluded that the best course is to have sex with any woman and simply pay the price for her, as though she were a mercantile commodity. Thus, they engage their energy in working very hard for such material acquisitions. Such materialistic people have lost their good intelligence. They must search out their intelligence within the heart. A person who does not have a chaste wife accepted by religious principles always has a bewildered intelligence.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tatati Shvadantakam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Sitapantamana Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadhujatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Hey Krishna Varuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kancana Gaurahi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishabhanu Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchako Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindhopyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Uchu Naranata Najani Mas Vatpriya Yadvyavasyati Bhutale Nirvastare Shayanam Pasha Shatruhan. In terms of the direct narrative, the king went out hunting, and when he came back, he found that his wife was lying on the ground without bedding, and the palace women didn't know why this was going on.
Gumaraj, is your volume all the way up?
Let's check and see. No, I turned it up and it turned itself down. That should be better, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Figuratively, as we know, the wife here represents the intelligence, and the king, Puranjana, had abandoned his intelligence and gone out to kill animals for sense gratification. And so now when he comes back, he finds that his intelligence is not there for him. Because he's abandoned, as Prabhupada says, he's abandoned Vishnu Bhakti and taken to sinful activities. So he can't just come back and say, oh, everything's fine. No. The Prabhupada in the purport takes the opportunity to describe the improper and proper relationship between man and woman, husband and wife. Prabhupada wrote one disciple that you shouldn't think that your wife is a machine for sense gratification. And that's how the materialists take it, that a woman is a machine for sense gratification. Either we purchase, rent time on the machine, or we acquire a machine, just like an office machine. It used to be that either you go to a photocopier, now everyone has one, but before you would go to the photocopy shop and you pay 10 cents a page and you get a photocopy. Otherwise you could pay a lump sum and have the photocopier in your own home or office. So the materialists are like that. Either they'll buy women by paying by the hour, or they'll keep one at home, but simply for sense gratification, without respect, without consideration. Just, I have a machine for sense enjoyment. And naturally, which women are unhappy with this. Of course, prostitutes are not unhappy, they're getting customers. But even the prostitutes, their business is impeded because women make themselves freely available. Why pay? But at the same time, women are unhappy that we're just seen as objects. That's, I think, the language. We're just seen as objects. Objects for sense enjoyment. Whereas Prabhupada says you're machines or mercantile commodities. So that's not very happy business. No one wants to be just a machine for the convenient use of others. And so women are protesting against this. And here, Srila Prabhupada they would have an ally in Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada doesn't believe either that women should be simply commodities for the sense enjoyment of unrestricted men. But if one wants a woman, one should marry a chaste woman and support her nicely.
Maharaj, I have a question.
A question.
Maharaj, here Prabhupada is saying they must search out their intelligence within the heart. Can you explain what does This means like how.
What does it mean to search out the intelligence within the heart? Generally, the heart is taken as the place of consciousness, citta. The terms are usually often used interchangeably. The heart, the intelligence, heart, consciousness, citta. So, intelligence should, in the heart, there should be intelligence. There should be good qualities. There should be compassion. There should be dharmic qualities. Otherwise, we say hard-hearted, or what is that? Mean-hearted. Hard-hearted, mean-hearted, stone-hearted, because the heart is devoid of good qualities. So, what is that? Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kaviye. Krishna enlightens Brahma within the heart. So it doesn't just mean the organ that pumps blood, but it means Brahma was able to understand it by his intelligent discrimination.
So it's like a conscience, something like that. Conscience, inner conscience. They say no, that inner
Conscience.
Yes, inner voice. They say no, something like that. Is it something? Like
Yeah,
that?
conscience is there. All of the thinking, feeling, willing, you can assign that to the heart.
Okay. The wife of King Puranjana was lying on the ground because she was neglected by her husband. Actually, the woman must always be protected by her husband. We always speak of the goddess of fortune as being placed on the chest of Narayana. In other words, the wife must remain embraced by her husband. Thus, she becomes beloved and well protected. Just as one saves his money and places it under his own personal protection, one should similarly protect his wife by his own personal supervision. Just as intelligence is always within the heart, so a beloved, chaste wife should always have her place on the chest of a good husband. This is the proper relationship between husband and wife. A wife is therefore called Ardhangini, or half of the body. One cannot remain with only one leg, one hand, or only one side of the body. He must have two sides. Similarly, according to nature's way, husband and wife should live together. In the lower species of life, among birds and animals, it is seen that by nature's arrangement, the husband and wife live together. It is similarly ideal in human life for husband and wife to live together. The home should be a place for devotional service, and the wife should be chaste and accepted by a ritualistic ceremony. In this way, one can become happy. One can become happy at home.
So here, Srila Prabhupada indicates the wife should be cherished. If you're going to, the brahmacharis, they may be a little, not a little, totally standoffish to women, have as little to do as possible with women. But if you're married, then you have to give your wife sufficient attention, affection, protection. You can't disregard the wife, or what's the word? Disdain. When you speak of disregard, disdain the wife. No, you have to give sufficient care, sufficient protection. Manu says sufficient bangles and decorations. It doesn't take so much. Of course, women may want more and more, but it doesn't mean the man supplies more and more and more and more. but sufficient, ample. Yes, nice dress, nice ornaments, sufficient care, ample care, affection. I gave the example yesterday, I was talking with someone, that when my mother visited Bombay, she was treated to a tour of the city by Srila Prabhupada, by Radhanath Maharaj's disciple, Raghunath, who at the time was the administrator of Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And he, showed her various places and was giving her a tour. And he got a phone call on his car. And he said, "Oh, that must be my wife." And it was his wife, so he had some discussion with her. And then after the call was over, my mother asked, "How did you know it was your wife?" He said, "I've given strict orders that to my colleagues that during my lunch hour, I won't take any calls. No one can call me." He said, "Except my wife." And he said that, women in this country, they sacrifice for their husbands. They give so much, and they just need a little affection, care. So I've given that order, that no one can call me except my wife. Of course, my mother was very happy about that. But it's very nice that the husband can't neglect the wife. No. He has to see that she's taken care of, so that she has everything for her happiness. Of course, especially Krishna consciousness. He shouldn't neglect the spiritual welfare of his wife. That's the most important thing. If the spiritual part is there, then everything should follow nicely. But he has to see also to the material side of things, that she should not feel neglected. Robert says the wife is like half the body of the husband, so it should be like that, but not for sense gratification. We see the Pandavas protected Draupadi, but it wasn't just for sense gratification. Dharma Patni. Dharma Patni means she's a representative of religious principles. So in that way, not that I'm keeping a machine for sense gratification and I have to keep it in good order so that my material enjoyment will be at the fine-tuned. No. The wife is not a machine for sense gratification, but she should be actually, as we take care of our money. One is very attentive. My money should always be guarded. My money should always be carefully seen to. But one should carefully see to the welfare of one's wife. Not that Krishna consciousness means that I marry and then I just snap my fingers when I want some sense gratification. Otherwise, you can go to hell. Not like that. You should be sufficiently attentive. Okay, there's a question.
The Guru Maharaj has a question from yesterday from
Oh,
Neville.
yes. Okay.
says, Dear Prabhupada, this is yesterday's verse. Prabhupada says, devotee men should marry a woman who is chaste. How will a devotee woman who, hang on, how will devotee women who are not necessarily so chaste find a husband?
Okay. Your audio is rather choppy, but men should marry a woman who's chaste, but how will devotee women who are not necessarily so chaste find a husband? First, I think that devotee women should be chaste. Either they should be raised in such a way that from childhood they're chaste, and or all right, whatever your background, now live according to principles of chastity. And the father has a great responsibility. Actually, it's the father's responsibility. Let's take this case first. You have to examine different cases. So one case is the girl from birth or from childhood, she's a devotee. So how should she find a husband? She shouldn't have to find her husband. That's her father's duty. Fathers are neglecting, as husbands may neglect wives. Fathers may be negligent on this point, but they shouldn't be. It's the father's duty to find a suitable husband for the daughter. That's his duty. Not that his duty is just to have sex and have children and have more sex and have more children, or have sex and not have children by artificial means. But all right, you have children, you have to see to their proper upbringing, and especially you have to see to their marriage. Generally, the father has the duty to see to the marriage of all the children, sons, daughters. Therefore, the father, Praveen, and they're always asking me, oh, please ask them to get married, please see to their marriage. They're always thinking like that. But son you may or may not marry, but the marriage of the daughter is a responsibility, a must. The Prabhupada said you may avoid seeing to the marriage of the son, but you can't avoid seeing to the marriage of the daughter. That's a great responsibility of the father. I remember I was sitting with Bhakti Charu Maharaj one time in his quarters in Mayapur, and one disciple was there with his teenage daughter, and she was in some anxiety, and Bhakti Charu Maharaj, in his sweet voice, was saying, you don't have to worry, and be Krishna conscious, and giving her various instructions. And he said, and your father will find a nice husband for you. And as soon as he said that, she just went, all of her tension, you could see the tension dissipating. Your father will find a nice husband for you. Because that's naturally an anxiety. That a girl wants a husband, wants family. How will I find a husband? What to do? And the modern society says, just market yourself, mix with men, experiment, find someone who loves you, all of this. And you're thrown out into the world of cheaters and cheated. And people think this is very nice. But it's a kind of cruelty to the girl. The father, especially father and mother, but father really, should see to it that the girl to find, and it's a lot of trouble. No, not this one, not this one, not this one. This one's not interested, this one's not qualified, this one's not a good match, this one's, there'll be so many. No, 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 no. Rarely, on the first shot, we find a suitable boy. Sometimes, but usually or often it's so difficult. But it's his duty. Just as he goes hunting around for money, or he sees to so many things. No, this is a great responsibility you have to see to the marriage of your daughter. And the daughter also has to be, what's the word? Pleased that yes, this is a suitable boy. In the third canto, we find how Devahuti, confidentially, through her mother, let her father know that I like this boy. So it wasn't just you take this man no matter what, but they were also, yes, will you be happy with this boy? But the father would take the responsibility, not just that because he's handsome or because he's good with words, so he somehow or other catches the girl and uses her for some time and then throws her away and finds a new, younger girl, after 20 years, all right, done with you. No, he has to find a very qualified, responsible. The girl may be looking for handsome and this and that. The father looks at, all the different considerations. Then he has to find a suitable boy and see to her marriage. And that he has to do at a young age. Now things are so out of kilter. The father thinks my responsibility is to send my daughter to college. First she has to have a career, education, and then career. And then she can get married when she's 27, 28. That's sort of the going age these days, right? And the Indians, families particularly these days, are so out of more than the Americans on this point. They'll let her first get her career going, and then we'll see about marriage. So then it's difficult in so many ways. At first she has to dedicate herself to some career that may not be very suitable for her, of interest to her at all. But no, you have to have a career. How many girls really want to have a career as a microbiologist or a lab technician or this or that? They'd rather have home, family, but no, you have to have a career. And then compete for the career. We were hearing the other day that girls are committing suicide even because they can't get into such and such college. Why? It shouldn't be like that. But for that, if you want to get your daughter married, so you have to start early. Prabhupada, I think his wife was 14, maybe 14 when she had her first child. Anyway, young like that. Otherwise, you want to have some input as a father when your girl is 22, and forget it. Now she has a mind of her own. She's probably had enough experience out there also with this man, that man. So she's really unfit for marriage and screwed up and confused. So it's a very unfortunate situation. But we have to have a career for her in case her husband leaves her. But it's sort of what they call a vicious cycle. We hear that the number one source of infidelity is association in the workplace. So you're sending your girls to the workplace, so they mess around with somebody else's husband. You know, everything happens at the water cooler. She messes around with somebody else's husband. Somebody else's husband messes around with her. All of this stuff is going on at the workplace, and you're eager to send your girl to the workplace so that she'll have stability in her marriage. Everything is out of joint. So the father should see to the welfare of the daughter, particularly to her marriage. That's case one. Now, case two, she's joined the Hare Krishna movement when she's 18, 20, 22, 24, 30, whatever it may be. Her background of experience now is not that of an ideal chaste woman, a Darsh Hindustani Nari. No. But all right, what is that? We're taking whatever there is, the boys, the girls, and making them Krishna conscious. That all right, going forward, be Krishna conscious. Going forward, be Krishna conscious. Now, then how do the boys, the girls find husbands? It's difficult. It's difficult. And I sympathize. It's a small pool. If you want a devotee husband, then they're small in number. If you want a responsible devotee husband, then it's still smaller, because there's so many men who are irresponsible. So it's hard. So the father's still, and the father's not there, the girl is joined. So then the temple president or the local leaders or the friends may try to help as far as possible. Sometimes the spiritual master gets involved. People are requesting sannyasis, do you know anyone, this and that. So it's not easy. And again, we sympathize. Therefore, Prabhupada had the thought that, all right, some of the men may marry more than one woman. But that becomes problematic. First of all, in many countries it's illegal. And second of all, you attract a kind of man who's interested in joining your movement so he can have 5 wives. So that becomes problematic. Another solution, often, I see it often enough, is that, all right, marry the boy who's a good man. He may be a devotee, he may not be a devotee, but if he's responsible, if he has good qualities, then get yourself married. At least he should be supportive of your spiritual life, and ideally also you'll make him a devotee. Ideally you'll make him a devotee. That may also, and I know several ladies, they have nice husbands. May or may not be so much of a devotee, but a nice husband. And we've seen sometimes, I have seen, that the husband becomes a devotee. The wife is a sincere devotee, and she finds a nice boy, and he also becomes a very nice devotee. So that may also happen. Another path is just to say, forget it. Now I'm, 28, 30, 33, 38. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Having children becomes more problematic later on in life. There's risk involved also in the what kind of child we may have from the health point of view. So we may just say, all right, anyway, the purpose of life is not marriage and children and all of that. Let me just make Krishna my husband and be engaged in the service of Krishna. Rukmini says anyone who doesn't have Krishna as her husband is just married to a bag of mucus, bile, and air with some mustaches and hair on his head and bad smells and so on. So just, I don't want anyone but Krishna. So some of the girls may take that approach also, but let me just have Krishna. So these are some of the thoughts that I could offer. There's a comment from Murari. I've seen in the village that the sons wouldn't marry until the daughter was, even if she was the youngest child. First that would be settled, and then the sons could marry. Yeah, it's such a responsibility. Daughter has to be married. Prabhupada was saying how his daughter wasn't married. How old was she? She was like 16 or something like that. And the mother was saying, I'm going to commit suicide. I'm trying, probably. Because it's such a responsibility. And the Krishna conscious father should not be negligent. That, it's the modern society. What does it amount to? It means you're just tossing your daughter out into the marketplace to be, as Prabhupada said, a commodity. So much care has to be taken, and we give our special respect to fathers who've taken that responsibility. I'm a sannyasi, I don't have to worry about such things, but I have to offer my respect to the Krishna conscious fathers who've taken it very seriously, that Krishna has given me this girl, so I have to see to it that she gets a nice husband. Okay. Anything else? Okay. The Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that his heart, the king's heart, is her flower bed, and she's given that up. The intelligence is supposed to reside in the heart and be happily situated in the heart, but because he's taken up sinful activities, neglecting his intelligence, so now the intelligence is unhappy and given up that what should be a flower bed. So that happens also. So advice to the husbands, that don't be nonsense. If Krishna has given you a nice wife, then be very responsible. Don't think that, I can have some fun here, I can have some fun there. Be very responsible. No gambling, no intoxicants, no meat eating, no illicit sex. Chant Hare Krishna. And use your good intelligence. Prabhupada said, Vishwanath says, the intelligence endowed with Dharma is lying on the ground. So especially if Krishna has given you a nice Krishna conscious wife, then don't go off and get involved in sinful activities that brings trouble to you and will make your wife unhappy also. Then your family life becomes a mess. Then your children, if you already have children, they get all screwed up because the parents are quarreling or finally divorcing because he's doing nonsense and she's distraught and everything terrible. Be normal. Kadambakanda Maharaj used to say that his mother used to say, I think it's like a standard saying in the Netherlands, his mother used to say, just be normal, that's crazy enough. So the husbands should be normal. Just chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds at least, and follow 4 regulative principles, and be a responsible human being. You don't have to be something extraordinary. Be responsible. Take care of take care of what Krishna's given you. You naturally, young man wants a wife, young girl wants a husband. So husband and wife should both be Krishna conscious. Wife should be chaste and attentive, and the husband should be responsible and Krishna conscious. And then they can have a nice life. And don't, what is that? Shastra Vitamutri Jayādvaita Kamakarata Nasasityam Avapranati Nasukha Paramgatim. If we think that, oh, this is all just religious, blah blah. No, if we give up the Shastric direction, we won't be happy. We will fail to attain perfection. We won't go back to God. So just follow. Even householder life, we know it has troubles, it has its own exasperations, but don't give up householder life whimsically just because it's troublesome. That's renunciation in the mode of passion. And from passion comes misery. So you've accepted householder life. Now be a responsible householder. Krishna has given you a girl to take care of. So take care of her nicely so that she'll be materially protected, and spiritually it will be easy for her to be Krishna conscious. And then have a happy householder life as far as possible. Normal. Normal. That will be very good. Then in the future, after Krishna conscious householder life, then you can retire vanaprastha ashram. But don't prematurely, not that I get married and the next day I think, why did I and treat the wife like dirt. No. Oh, she's Maya. The wife is a gift from Krishna. So you have to see that the wife is cherished. Wife should be nicely cared for. That's your duty. It was her father's duty to see to her welfare in her childhood and get her a suitable husband. Now you're the husband, now it's your duty. You have to see to her happiness or necessity. And have children, and then you have to train the sons also, that in the future your duty is to take care of your mother. In my Vanaprastha book, there's an interview with Braj Bihari Prabhu. And he was saying that his son had it inculcated into him from like the age of 4 that your duty is to take care of your mother. That's going to be your duty. And so both his father and mother were saying now he has that understanding, that mentality. She said, I don't need very much at this point, but I know that he's always there if I need him. And the father knows that something happens to me, my wife will be taken care of because the son is responsible. So that should be the ideal. Yes, Saraswati.
If you, my voice is coming out clearly right now.
Yes, you're good.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to also sort of pitch in there about how it's important for husbands to be so respectful of their wives. This we saw with our own parents. My father never addressed my mother, even in, you know how in language, like in French, you have vous and tu, and in Hindi you have aap and tum. My father never addressed my mother in that other. He would always say tame. Like in Gujarati, tame is a more respectful way of addressing someone, usually somebody older than you even. But we saw that firsthand. And in that way, he taught others how to see my mother and how to interact with my mother with respect. So he set that precedent that, you know, my wife is somebody that you have to respect all around. And that's important. But the other thing I'm also thinking is sometimes circumstances are that a woman finds herself with a young child on her own. That happened with me, and I can never thank my father enough, because now he's 97, but for decades he's taken care of me and my daughter Radhika. We never felt that we are all alone. I mean, of course, Krishna's with us, but if you are not at that level of Krishna consciousness where you feel that, you need someone. You need a father figure. If you don't have a husband, then, you know, a father, his duty doesn't sometimes end when the daughter's marriage. Circumstance may be that he has to continue to take care of her and offer protection. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. When Krishna killed Kamsa, Kamsa had 2 wives, Prapti and I've forgotten, 2 wives. So they went back to their father, Jarasandha.
Prapti.
What was Swasti?
Asti
Asti?
and Prapti.
Asti and Prapti. So these 2 girls, now the husband is gone. All right, the father took responsibility. This has happened, so I'll take care. Or else the elder brother, he has to take care. In our, among my disciples, Madhupati's brother expired at a rather early age. So Madhupati took special interest to see to the welfare of his sister-in-law and his nephew and niece, because he's the brother. So this is, and if there's no father, there's no brother, then the grahastas have to think that this girl is in our community and she has no husband, she has no father. We have to take care. This is how it should be. The Brahmins, the women, the cows, the elderly people, and children. They have to be given special care. So generally the children are cared for by their parents, the women are cared for by their fathers. But if there's some difficulty and some woman or Brahmin or child is unprotected, And it's a special duty of the Grahas to see that we're the ones who are earning money, and our life is not for sense gratification. So we have to take care of, as Prabhupada said, the 1/4 has to take care of the whole of the other 3/4 of the society. They're responsible for the welfare of the brahmacharis, the sannyasis, the vanaprasthas, as well as their own establishments. Not that if we get some money, we spend it to feed the bums and have our picture taken so that politicians and others will think that we're great people. The charity should be given to the Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and special care should be taken. Especially the Grahasthas should think that we have to take special care. Okay, there's one thing. In some cases, a girl's husband takes care of the girl's elderly parents, Priti Purna say, if nobody's left to take care of them. Is that protection also in the right direction? Yes. Then all right, my wife is there and her parents somehow, they need help, why not? Naturally. Yes, that's also very good. Okay, Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Om Nishtubhad Pranamanta Pariprazakacharya Astotra Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Jamunamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all for joining. We will continue with our Bhagavatam class tomorrow. His Holiness Jayādvaita Maharaj Shri Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare
Hare Krishna.